There's something about you, your voice is all in my head. All in my head, all in my head. I cannot stop thinking about what we did. Oh, what we did. I just need one more night to beat it up. One more night to beat it up. Your body keep calling, calling my name. Just one more night to beat it up. One more night to beat it up. Have our own private party. Finish what we started, girl.
What's up, y'all? It's Tiffany Tony, and you're here for another episode of Lipstick Tea. And before you guys got here, we actually had a little bit of karaoke going on. Did y'all want to continue your song?
We got a new theme song, people. Nico started off.
Vagina.
I want to have sex with your vagina.
Well,
Lyrics by Miko. Dance moves by Miko, but I got your back. And your friend.
so, to my right, I got my girl, Miko. Miko, what's up?
Miko Rounds, what it do?
And the sexy Margot in her dominatrix fit.
Ooh.
Hi,
Booze on deck.
Margot Graff, nice to meet you.
Ooh.
And Michael.
Hi, I'm the resident gay.
Resident gay. And we have a lovely guest today, Kendra.
Hello, Kendra. I'm the holistic healer.
Yes.
Hi, Kendra.
Magical. So the reason we brought Kendra on today is because this is her first time in LA.
Welcome.
Yes. So excited to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So you guys, she's a healer, and she and I have been friends for a really long time, and we talk a lot about spirituality. And you know, I know on this show we get a little crazy, we talk crazy all the time, but I just thought it would be interesting to delve into everybody's coming out experience and how that affected you on a spiritual level, and like, you know, maybe you just share a little bit about that. I think I'm gonna start with you because you look so churchy and spiritual today. It's only right.
Well, how many book clubs you in? Right?
Actually, I do have a book club, guys, and
And a minivan. Eh?
I want a minivan where I can travel like in a. Okay, anyway. That's what I'm talking about. So, I think that everybody definitely, if you've been raised, even with a family that's not religious, at some point you battle with what you're doing is really a sin. So when I first came out, my first girlfriend, her family was extremely religious. Mine wasn't. I was the type of person who had to go with my friends on that community van that came and picked you up, and I would go to church like that with friends. But with her mother and father were just extremely religious, so she battled with whether or not God loved her anymore. And it ended up affecting our relationship and how I was. And we were young, because my first girlfriend was young, so we were in high school, and this was affecting us, like having these discussions. And I'm just like, I don't know enough about the Bible to have this discussion with you. I don't know how to do it. And then I went through my own spiritual phase where I got baptized, and I was just like, okay, I'm not. And at one of my churches, they didn't want you. They were like, what sin do you have to commit? And I was just like, what? Oh shit, well, I can't say I'm gay. I can't say that I'm gay. But I got to the point where I just feel like I don't judge anybody's religion. I believe in a God or a higher power, however you want to call it. But I feel like every religion needs to focus on being good to other people, doing unto others what you would have them do unto yourself. And the Bible was written by man. It was written different times. There are different things that contradict itself. So I just feel like as long as you're a good person, your walk with God or your walk with your higher power, whatever you want to call that, that's your walk. And as long as you deal with it, it's your relationship. Nobody else can tell you what that relationship is supposed to look like. If you are a good person, I don't believe that you're going to hell because of who I love.
Did you ever find yourself, you know, in the midst of, you know, your journey through religion and spirituality, feeling that same conflict of like, am I loved by my creator? Is what I'm doing wrong?
I definitely did. Like when I went through the part of, I had this whole study Bible, and I was telling somebody that at one point I read the Bible from cover to cover. Don't ask me too many verses now. But I know that when I was in college.
The Cliff Notes.
Right, one of my college coaches tried to quote the Bible to me, and I finished the quote, and he looked at me. And I was like, okay, but are you eating meat? Because in this verse it says you can't. And he was looking at me and he was like, well, you're doing the ones that you Google. And I'm like, no, I can go tit for tat. But I also took notes on who begot who. And I was like, what am I doing all of this for? I was like, what is the point? Like, is it supposed to be a point of faith? And what your relationship is, or is it supposed to be, I studied this and I know these
Can
notes.
you use it? Some people use it as ammunition. Like,
Yeah.
pachow verse, yo, sinful, pachow.
Now give me another shot of tequila. Yeah, it's like, wait, what?
So yeah, I definitely battled with it, but I think once I found myself, I was able to deal with it better.
How did you deal with it? I mean, in terms of, you know, figuring out your sexuality and then also figuring out how that aligned with spirituality and religion. Was it a struggle for you?
I feel like when I was growing up, you know, I thought I was a straight girl, even though was always attracted to girls, was hooking up with girls, and making out. I was doing a lot of stuff with girls. I still thought I was a straight girl. You know what I mean? So I didn't really feel like I didn't take that as a burden upon me. And God has saved me through so much in terms of like escaping trafficking and just like different little things where I'm like, God will never forsake me. And so now that I've further kind of gotten into a community that I never knew I could be a part of.
Do you feel balanced now in your as
Oh
far
yeah,
as
God
that?
will never forsake me. I am very happy and confident with myself, and I know God made me, and God puts me through trials and brings people into my life. And I always say, like, God brings someone into my life who's supposed to be there, keep them there. If they're supposed to be there, take them out. If they're supposed to be out. So the people who God brings into my life, like any of my relationships like that, they're of God.
Yes.
So He can't then hate me for loving others like that.
Absolutely.
But I do think one of my exes, she really had a hard time because, like, when she was growing up, she always looked like a lesbian. Like, she never, I think, could pass as, and she would. And
You're
she
not
never,
slipping through the cracks.
No, and she never wanted to, but she had pastors and preachers coming to her house telling her family that she's going to go to hell.
Wow,
So
the nerve. It's like, why did you feel the need to, I mean, who are you really saving when you do that? It's just like.
And so I know it's like, for me, things like that will scar you forever and always make you timid with your relationship with God, because that was your foundation.
But that wasn't her relationship.
Yeah, that was just some nosy ass
Yeah,
neighbors.
we're told that our
Basically.
God is an all-loving God. It's an unconditional love.
For sure.
And you cannot condemn me. You can't condemn me and tell me that I'm going to hell, giving me a condition, telling me that I'm going to
How do you feel about this? Like, from the perspective of you being a healer and experiencing love in so many different levels on so many different planes.
With me, I just see a person as the soul that they are. I see past the exterior, a female, a male. I see the soul that they are. And so when people try to put me in a box, or at first it really affected me because I was so confused, especially coming from a small town in Texas at that. So it really affected me, but now it's just
How long did it take you to get to this point, do you feel like? As far as finding the balance between spirituality, what is religion, and then who are you in relationship to all of that?
In the last 7 years, I got more comfortable once my wife entered my life, and I just felt more like, okay, this is me. I'm not trying to make anyone comfortable. This is me living my life. So it took time, but it's amazing now looking in. It's like, wow, I got through this. Like, I got through this with the grace of the divine, the spirit, like, just guiding me through it. It's
So
amazing.
your spirit led you to your wife, and that was where you find that peace.
Yes, exactly.
That's amazing.
She was there for a reason. It helped me through that dark time because there was a lot of depression and anxiety, and she was there, and it was divine. It was divine. So that's how I look at it. Definitely.
Good.
That's amazing.
Mike, how did you feel? I know you grew up in a very religious environment.
Yeah.
And in terms of your own spirituality and your connection with your Creator, how did you go about finding that balance?
A lot of deconstructing.
Powerful.
I think, because I was a college pastor.
Wow.
And
I forgot about that.
I was a college pastor, and that comes with its own bag of shit.
I can only imagine.
But
College and pastors are just oxymorons in general. Like,
and my spiritual journey, like I grew up in a religious household, and then we weren't for a while, and then I went to college, and I was ready to like wild out. But then God kind of found me there, and I just dove headfirst into to my relationship with God and the divine.
Like, were you diving in from a religious standpoint in the
Yeah,
beginning?
I was like, oh, I need to learn all these verses, and I
Right.
just need to like, and I was going on these like summer long like retreats, and like I was just like very into it, and I was very evangelical and very judgmental. Like there were people who I would meet that were gay, and I was like, well, you can't do that. All the while, in like in my mind, going, well,
Here's my number.
but then I met my now boyfriend, and we kind of, there was an attraction there that was more than physical and more than momentary, and we couldn't deny it. Like we tried to kind of go, oh, we're just best friends, and we were Mike and Justin, and we were always together, and then we kind of began to explore what we were actually feeling for each other, and then it became very difficult to kind of find where my love of God fit with this thing that I was told was wrong, like a mortal sin or whatever, which it's not. But and so like over the next few years, like we were together secretly, but we were secret because we were trying to figure it. We were trying to figure out who we were in this thing, and
How long do you feel like that process? I mean, you said a few years.
yeah, the process. I mean, before we were comfortable with who we were to each other, who we were as individuals, it was probably 4 years because, like, we kept going in and out of it. Like, okay, we're not gonna do this anymore. But like, I need you in my life. And then I think what kind of clarity came. I think the clarity came when I was like, God loves me so much that He gave me you.
Exactly.
And I think that's when I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
There's no way that can be wrong.
There's no way that this can be wrong. And I know, and I've had, a lot of conversations with my, evangelical friends, and I'm from Georgia, so they were like Bible belting it, and they're like, well, you just because you think it's not wrong doesn't mean that, because God's ways are higher and His thoughts are better or whatever. And I'm like, no, but what you don't understand is in my relationship with my divine Creator, I know that I know this is for me.
Right, absolutely.
You can't, just like, I have friends who've married their wives and husbands, and I'm like, just like just like you knew that this piece completed who you were as a person, I know that this is for me.
Absolutely.
And just like I can't tell you that who you're with is not meant for you, you can't tell me that he's not meant for me.
Right.
And I think that that's where I was like, we're good. And I think that we came to that point at the same time. And that whenever people ask me now, so how do you know? How can you be a Christian? How can you love God and be gay or what? And I'm like, I'm a Christian because
You found
this is how I know. This is how I know. And that's where my balance is. That's where my faith lies. Is God gives me evidence of His love for me throughout our lives.
The person that you're with in any other forms.
I think that people also put like the religion first before their love and relationship with God.
Yeah.
Will never understand a loving, endless, infinite, just capacity to love and be loved.
Exactly.
And when you have the opportunity for that is so much greater.
And it's
so much greater. It's so freeing.
Like traditional religion, going to church, tithing, blah, blah. It's like, no, but your relationship with God is going to be different than my relationship with God, and the things He tells me and gives me explicit instructions to do.
We're all our own prophets in a way, and it's like, what prophecy are you living
You've
out.
officially made me a gay man. I officially want to be a gay man.
Get the strap.
I need my gay boyfriend too. That was so, because of you, God exists. Like, that was so gay and so sweet. I want to cry.
Real.
I felt that.
I want to know, you guys, because I personally, like, I did go through this, living in a small, she and I actually grew up in the same town in Texas, and I went through a period where I felt very lonely because I was like, nobody gets me, and maybe God really does hate me, and maybe I will always have to choose between my creator and who I really am as a person. And so I like suppressed all these feelings and emotions, and I felt like I was always faking it. Like I was always being fake. I was being fake at church, and then I was being fake when I would go out into the world, and it caused a lot of problems in my relationships. And so I'm wondering what experience did you have as far as that loneliness and coping with that? Because I know people watching are dealing with this. I know there's a lot of people that are probably living in that space right now. So you mentioned anxiety, depression. How did you, what advice do you have for coping with those feelings?
Just seek help. There's so many of us. If you find a tribe and stick together, because with me, with my family, I couldn't even come out to my aunt. She was very strict, and I just didn't want to disappoint her. That was the main thing. But just knowing that there's people out there that you can talk to, that's there to listen. I really feel just writing down what you're feeling as well and not keeping it in, because that's what I was doing, and it was making me so confused on who I was. I didn't even know who I was or what I was doing here, or why did you put all this? I had so many questions and curious, like, why am I going through this? Why am I having these feelings when I was told this is not right? But now with what I've learned, sin is really the absence of love to begin with. So when we look at it from that point of view, we see that they are not aware, like they're stuck in their religion as far as putting themselves in a box. But that's what we're doing, putting ourselves in a box and not wanting to love everyone and everything like we were designed. We're brothers and sisters, we're connected, one consciousness, but we're so disconnected from that. When we hear people say that, it sounds like it's foreign, but that just goes to show how good society has programmed us to get away from how it's designed.
The love we're supposed to give.
Absolutely. Don't get too carried away, girl.
Girl, you can bring your love over here. I'm not gonna deny it, baby. I'm not gonna deny it.
No, so did you ever go through a period where you felt lonely in that? I mean, I from what you've said, it seems like your family's always been super supportive of you, but I can imagine having some times where you felt that darkness, you know?
My family, like all families, they struggle with it. So in the beginning, my family was not supportive of it. As of now, I have the most supportive family. On my birthday cake, they put "Happy Birthday" with your gay ass.
With your gay ass.
On my birthday cake. That's what my birthday cake says. So like my family's very supportive now. But there are moments where you go through loneliness from when you came out to even now, just because someone's not always going to understand what you're going through, and there's some things that you just feel like you cannot tell people.
Right.
I agree with journaling. I've always been a journaler, and I feel like people feel like, oh, a journal is just like your daily journal. If you have a relationship with your God, then you know that it's about you communicating with him or her, and also listening for a response. So I have a journal that's literally dedicated to God. So I have a God journal. I have a poetry journal. I have like a goal journal. So if you have these things that you're feeling like depression, if nobody else is there for you, your creator is there for you. Yes. So you write, you listen for your answers, and I feel like I've gotten that from there. And I like the beach. I don't know what it is about water, but when I go to the water, it just feels like everything makes a little more sense. So I would try one of those things.
I listened to the Pastor Judah Smith over at Church Home was talking about how we behave when we become insecure. And that can be the same with depression, anxiety. But what we do is we feel insecure, so we compare ourselves to someone else to make us feel better. So, at least I would never do that. Oh, I don't look like that. Or I don't, and it makes us feel better. So then we actually believe, because I'm better than you, I actually deserve more.
Yeah.
And then you just develop this pride and this ego. And that's where also it comes of like, you can't be doing this because they're insecure with who they are. They're insecure with the love they give themselves.
Right.
And they're so blocked off from receiving any love that then therefore you don't deserve to be loved. You don't deserve to give love.
Right.
And none of that.
Unless you subscribe to the way that I believe that you should
Exactly.
subscribe.
And
in
the
terms of
way
religion.
to
And that's religion for
fix
you.
that actually is, Judah was giving this whole like amazing diagram, but when we feel insecure, instead of comparing ourselves, we worship. And we just start saying, God, thank you so much for this and this and this. God, I am so blessed. You start praying.
Gratitude,
You can start singing, listening to Christian music, and then we get into a mindset of love and generosity and humility, and then we become a service to other people versus deserving and thinking we are more and putting no. Whenever you're feeling insecure, worship, pray, and just start thanking God for everything.
Absolutely.
For all of my fingernails today, Lord, for keeping all my acrylics on.
All right, we'll mix together.
No, just having feet to walk on, to being able to like be, having food, anything like that. And once you realize everything you're grateful for, you stop being insecure and you stop blocking yourself from love.
So I have a question for everybody. Whoever wants to chime in can chime in. Why do you guys think that religion in general, religious practices, Christianity, all of them, I mean, I could go down the list. Why do you think they're so willing to accept change and to even write new versions, New Testaments, when it comes to everything but sexuality? Why do you think it's such a big deal? Why is it so hard for religion to just kind of be more open with that? Because from my perspective, I'm like, it's not really, are we really hurting people? I mean, is us sleeping with each other really causing that much stress for y'all? Like, are you really losing sleep? Like, I don't understand. But why do you think it is?
I think that the essence of religiosity, organized religion, is control anyway. Like, that's the whole purpose of it.
Right.
Is to control. You think about where the first church was. Like when Christianity, we'll just use Christianity. Christianity became a mainstream religion as a result of Constantine trying to control his region.
Exactly.
And he was like, okay, I'm a Christian now, so everyone has to be Christian in my kingdom.
Exactly.
And that means that you have to adhere to all of these rules and systems. And if you don't, then the people started to be executed and things. And I think when you flash forward to today, we're not executing people, but we are saying.
But we're crucifying them.
We're
Whether
saying,
it's verbally, physically,
right.
social
Church and
media.
state are not separate.
They're not separate at all.
Half our laws are based off the Bible.
And I think that it has always been a means of governance to say, this is the book that we are following, and we have done such an incredible job over the 2,000 years.
Y'all are not about to come up in here and sabotage all this Christian work.
We created over the last 2,000 years to say, to condition generation after generation that this is, you're going to hell if you veer to the left or to the right of what's in this book.
So what you're saying is it's not so much about like homosexuality, it's about the fact that if we make this choice and we accept this, then what comes next?
What comes next?
And freedom over control.
Freedom over.
At the end of the day, it's a business.
It's a business.
If they gotta herd the cattle.
Yeah, and you have you talk about when denominations begin to splinter off of the Catholic Church, and they were trying to control those people by killing them. They were like, "Oh, you're a Protestant. We're gonna kill you to get these people back in line." It's always been about control, and I think because homosexuality has become such a mainstream thing now, they're freaking out about it.
And it's also like another like. It's a representation of freedom.
Of freedom.
Yes. Fully
free.
That ain't gonna happen
and it's
in
like,
our church.
It's like, well, you can't do that. You can't. And it was like, who says I can't do this?
Exactly.
These 3 verses in this book say you can't
like
do
that
this.
thick ass book.
You mean the same book that say
you can't eat meat? You
the
ain't supposed
same
to cut
book
your
that say
hair?
you can't eat shrimp. This same book that say poly cotton blends are not
even
of the Lord. Then you and I'm like, well,
Poly cotton blends.
it says it. It says do not mix.
You're killing your
do not.
How many pairs of spandex? And
Right,
things
like,
are they wearing?
you-
All my leggings.
Makeup, all, and then I'm at the same, like, because I've obviously had a lot of debates about this, and I'm like, well, this same book says that it's okay for a man to have multiple wives, but a woman can only be one of the wives.
And every woman should go ahead.
You don't want that?
Look, hell no.
Sounds great.
This is the thing. I feel like
You also going to pay for
when the
my
Bible was written,
child?
first off, it's written by man. But when it's written and there's, the old version, the new version, for a reason, it's been updated. But it also applies to that time. Like, I totally agree. Be fruitful and multiply. But at that time, you didn't have, you needed it. You didn't have people putting babies in microwaves. You didn't have people giving their babies up for adoption left and right. In today's society, I'm not saying that homosexuals are the save all to be all, but at the end of the day,
we need population control.
We pray for children. We're taking in these children who have no families. We are doing these things out of love because that's what you're supposed to do. But you're telling me that, because this straight couple, both cracked out, can just make babies, that they're going to be fruitful and multiply and keep having all these babies and putting them in places and killing them and doing these things. And it's like, you're so worried about who I'm sleeping with, but you're not looking at the
greater
atrocity,
good.
like everything that's happening in this society. Who I'm bumping vaginas with does not. Like, it's so small in comparison to everything else that is happening in our world.
And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, Jesus didn't even say nothing about this. If we,
You're like, I talked to him myself.
If we're gonna go by the Bible, if we're gonna say I'm a Christian, meaning I follow the tenets of Jesus, Jesus never said anything about gay people or lesbian. Like, no one. He never said.
Free love, he was definitely on the spectrum.
He was on the spectrum of.
He was one of us.
I think so.
And I
Loved
think
everyone and everything.
he loved everyone.
Exactly.
And I think that when people start to try and come at me about that kind of stuff, and I'm like, you realize that, okay, if you want to take Christianity at its base and say, Jesus is the Son of God, and he came and he died on the cross for our sins. At that very basic level, that means that even if what I'm doing is wrong,
I should be covered.
he covered it. So leave me alone. I'm still good.
So he died and I'm still not good?
I'm still not good?
Like,
is that what you're saying?
Right.
Exactly.
So y'all are good, but
I'm not good. Like, all the shit you're doing
Y'all
is
are
good
good.
because of Jesus, but the shit
Exactly.
that I'm doing is not because
Right.
you don't like what I'm doing.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah,
Cool.
pretty much.
that's what they say.
Cool.
I'm going to be waving to you down there on the way up here, right? Because I'm with him. So
Kendra and I actually started a podcast called Third Eye Birds, Soaring Above the Norm. And this literally happened over the last 48 hours. Like, because I was going through something, she was going through something, she called me and said, I'm flying to LA tomorrow. She bought a ticket and just showed up here. And
One way.
literally one-way ticket. And so I just want to give you a chance to talk a little bit about, like, you
and
know.
you got birds on your skirt too.
Yes.
Like, how harmonious.
Yes. I love everything that's been happening right now, just because we're talking about this and it's perfect timing, because I know we feel this shift that's coming this summer. We feel something that's coming. So I just love being out here and just talking with you all and hearing this. And thank you so much.
Of
for having
course,
me.
of course.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, the podcast is about just being open and like tapping into your higher self and your divine self and finding love and forgiveness and openness and just really like figuring out who you are and like waking up. And I feel like us as like young people, you know, we have so much power with the media and with social media, and like it's time for us to start not just having the knowledge, but actually using it.
Yes.
And so we just came together and wanted to do that. And I'm so glad all of you guys got a chance to meet her, because she's just a very powerful spiritual being, and she has so much light to shed to the world.
Give me some of that.
Yes, she's great. So Third Eye Birds, Third Eye
Birds.
_birds on Instagram. We have a podcast.
We just started it. Go listen to it.
yeah.
Y'all will not be disappointed. Trust me. Trust
Absolutely.
me.
For sure. So another question that I have, this is something that came up earlier. You made a joke about not dating straight women. But I really want to delve into that, because I recently was in a situation where I met someone, we really vibed, we really connected, and I was maybe the second girl she had been intimate with, but there's a lot of drama, and it's always like, you know, when we're alone, we can do this, but when we're out in public, you need to know all X, Y, and Z unspoken rules. And I'm like, how am I supposed to refrain my love for you? And I'm exhausted. And I'm just wondering, have you guys ever been in that situation, and how do you deal with that?
Listen, I cannot hide my love for you. If I have to hide my love for you, there comes a point where I put that love in a box and it don't listen. It's not gonna come out again. Because if I have to sit up here and say, okay, well, right now, I can let you know that I love you. I can be physical. First, everybody has the 5 love languages. You know, some people like touch. So if I like touch, and this is how I'm expressing my love to you, and I'm touching you, but now when we're in public, you always want to push me away. Eventually, I feel rejected.
Yes.
I can't give love to someone who won't accept my love and who won't give it back.
Yeah.
So it's okay that you're not there, but you have to also understand, and you can't be upset or you can't push somebody to be in that space with you, because I went through my not being there phase already.
Why I gotta go through it twice?
I've been there. I even dated people who were still there after I wasn't there.
Right.
But I'm at that point in my life now where I know where I'm going, I know who I am, and if you haven't found yourself, that's fine. I can be your friend and help you through that
Absolutely.
journey, but I can't be your girlfriend
Or your
while you're going through
experiment.
it. Oh yeah, I'm definitely nobody's experiment.
This isn't science class. How about you, Margot? Have you ever experienced that where you had someone that was super open in one environment, and then in another environment they were like,
No, and I was never even like that. I mean, right when I was with my ex, I was like, oh, within like the first 2 months of like anything, I was like, if I'm someone, I have to be fully open and fully authentic in any relationship. I don't want you to think that I'm hiding you. I don't want to feel like I'm hiding anything. And the only way to fully do something and discover something is out in the open.
Right.
So, no, and but also like, growing up as a straight girl, I think, I was still always making out with all of my friends. We were always showering
So
together.
when did you finally identify as bisexual? When did you accept
Margot.
it? Because you're not
I'm a
straight. I don't know if you know this.
No, but I just thought it was normal. I feel like girls think it's normal to kiss and love on each other because I've said it before, like it was a safe space to me. And I've just never.
Most girls think that, Margot.
I think they
Straight
do.
girls don't think. Well, yeah. So
first-
where's the line? When do you?
The
How do you?
the
When you
first
cross
girl that
over?
tried to kiss me, I punched her when I thought I was straight. And I mean, I'm sorry for doing that now. But.
Yeah, but that's because you were really gay. So I think like also you were never straight. I feel
wasn't.
like I just have always been such an open, loving person. Like I still hold my dad's hand in the car.
Yeah.
So it's like if you know me and you love me, I will always be all over you and touching you, and just like my love will be climbing, all over you like a monkey. And so like I think I just get comfortable with people, and like however those love and friendships develop. I've also never been someone that like, I don't think I ever called myself queer or thought I was bi or gay, because I just didn't want to add anything else that would cause further bullying, depression, anxiety, and
Got
I
it.
just felt like it was normal or something that was hot and sexy.
Right.
and,
Right. This
You know?
is fun.
Yeah.
You didn't want to put yourself in a box, is what you don't want to
Yeah.
be tied to a label. You're just you. That's why you keep saying it felt normal, because that's just you being you, but you didn't want to be tied to a label. I
Have
completely
you been in that
understand.
situation
Oh,
where
yes.
you've
Oh,
loved
yes.
someone or wanted to show affection, and they're like, wait till later, or when it's just the two of us?
When this just started when I was 18, and it was a journey for me, but I had so many different experiences that I needed to see exactly what I wanted out of my full-term commitment. So I see it as experiences, as lessons. I needed that. So at the time it sucked, but then now I'm able to look like I really needed that. But yeah, I definitely went through that. 'Cause
I can say I've been on both ends of it. I mean, I've done that to someone before when I was young and immature and didn't really accept myself. And I was just like, no, don't hold my hand in front of these people. And then we're at home and I'm all over her and she's distant now. And I'm like, why are you acting like that? Now the shoe's on the other foot and I'm like, wow, I see how I made this person feel. And I don't want to make anybody feel like that.
Yeah.
But I
Like
think
how I felt.
I think it should be normal. Like even with, I have friends that are straight, like I'll still hold their hands.
Yeah.
Like, because I love you. So just accept my love. Like, I don't feel like it really, like, I've
Not everyone's that open.
Right,
And I wish people
I'm the
were.
touchy-feely friend too, and everybody tells me that. But I don't think I ever really got to make anyone else feel that way, because my first lesbian relationship, like we're girlfriends. I was
Yeah.
13. I dated my girlfriend from high school through college.
Wow.
So I never really had to go through that phase. Everyone at school knew, and the only people that didn't know were our parents. other than that, everyone knew that I was gay. They were just like, oh, she has a girlfriend.
Yeah, my
And then the
situation-
moment I turned 18, the moment I was 18, I told them, okay, me and her actually live together now, and this is my girlfriend.
Happy birthday!
I was like, we live together. I'm tired of hiding her clothes. This is what it is.
Right.
These ain't even my sweaters. These ain't even my sweaters.
So I never had the moment, like I never had that, I guess, and that's probably why I won't accept it now. I never
Right.
went through that where I had to make someone else feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like even when I came out and my family wasn't accepting, my girlfriend came over and she told me she felt uncomfortable because my father didn't say hi to her. I immediately went to talk to him and I said, Dad, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to like it, but you will acknowledge my girlfriend.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
So I think I've always been like very firm in how I feel.
Yeah.
when
I'm
it
just
comes
in a
to
place
that.
in my life, I feel like where if we can't be completely transparent with whatever we are or aren't, like I have to create healthy boundaries that protect me.
You.
And
For
so
sure.
with you being a healer, what advice do you have for our viewers that may be in that situation about, first of all, about people who are hiding, how do they find themselves and find the courage to be themselves? And for those who are trying to love people who are hiding, how do they set healthy boundaries so that they can still be loving but also not
Protecting
get hurt?
themselves.
Yeah.
The main thing that I can say with that is we need to go in and find ourselves. A lot of us don't even know who we are. So first we need to go and soul search and heal from within, because there's so many different things that we don't even realize that's holding us down, that once we completely heal, it's like these answers that you just asked. You can go in, once you ask those questions, they will be answered once you find the divine within you. So just go in and heal and get that special place, and all the answers are going to be answered.
Right. Hurt people hurt people. So
Yeah.
if you're hurting and you don't even know it,
Exactly.
you're in the relationship and you're making them feel like shit because you don't want
Right.
to show them love, but it's because you're not loving yourself yet. You're hurting on the inside, and you can't be loving to someone else if you're not loving yourself, if you're not healed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you deserve to be cherished and
Yes.
celebrated by your partner.
Yes.
You deserve to have that person like, not, you never want to be with anyone who makes you feel like ashamed, embarrassed, unseen,
It's the worst
unheard.
feeling in the world.
When
It's
they
the
act one way
worst.
in private and the other way in public,
Yeah.
that's when you know. Once, you know what,
Let's discuss
okay.
this.
Yeah.
Second time, oh no, it's a habit and now you gotta go.
Yeah.
Fool me
But what
once,
do you
shame
have?
on me twice,
Would
shame
you
on-
guys have space in your relating with people for their confusion or not? Like,
I
'cause-
mean, I've had conversations when I've been in this situation. Well, actually, this is the first time I've been in this situation, but I've had conversations with the person about it. Like, listen, I understand that this may not be comfortable for you. And then her response is like, well, I'm not gay. And I'm like, you just ate my pussy for 2 hours. I think you're gay. Like, and even when I'm like resistant to sex, she's the one that always initiates it. So I'm like, and maybe you're not gay, maybe you're bisexual, maybe you're just exploring whatever that is, but don't come to me with all these deep, profound feelings and telling me you love me and all these things and being so deep and profound in private, and then in public, your energy's completely different. I don't know how to compartmentalize my love.
I think it has to do with the term, because I never really associated myself with being gay. I think it has, we have to start breaking down the boundaries of what it means to be gay, and that there is a Crayola crayon box.
Just be
of
clear.
what
We
that,
talked about this. Be clear.
exactly, but of what that term means, and
Right.
that term means something.
And I'm not
different to
saying she has
everybody.
to adopt a term or put herself in a box, but
No,
the
but
way
she
that
needs to
you're,
just let go.
why
have
are
to
you so worried about what people think?
Be accepting of loving a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you love me, and if you don't, then leave me alone.
Yeah.
And let me,
I feel like I give them space. I have conversations. Like I've dated one woman who swore up and down she wasn't gay, and then I had to always deal with the questions from her friends, like, well, does she like you for real? Because they knew I was gay. And they're like, you're always sleeping in her room, you're always doing, and I'm like, talk to her. And I'm like, no, she's not. No, she's not. And it's like, now I have to deal with it and I have to be secretive. But she was very loving, and she would bring me flowers in front of people. And I'm like, how are you explaining this? Because you're saying you're not gay.
Right.
And now I'm confused.
Well, I
on what
haven't
have
gotten
to
any
say.
flowers.
And I have to tell, like, even one woman I was dating, she didn't want to come out to her family. And I'm supportive.
Right.
But at this point in my life, I'm grown.
Yeah.
So when someone comes to me and if they tell me that, they're not openly gay, okay, well, what do you want from me?
Right.
What are your
Why are
intentions
you
with
here?
me? What are you
Exactly.
looking for with me?
Right.
And how do you expect me to react? And because if you're on top of that, the age we are, the women who are now trying to be gay, they're coming out, they have children. So you're not going to have me in your household, co-parenting with you, taking care of this child within, and then you walk out on the street with me and I'm just your best friend.
Yeah, it's
okay,
a
I
lot.
can be your
It's a
best
lot.
friend, not buying all these damn diapers. I can be your best friend, not doing all these things that I'm doing as your lover.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And then a lot of these women or a lot of these people, they want to have this like control, like possession over you.
Right.
I can't talk to anybody else. I can't. Well, why not? Because according to you, I'm not even really in a
Exactly,
relationship.
Right.
exactly.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's
It's
okay. We
a
can
lot.
talk about it, but you have to be open to the growth in that. You can't sit up here and say, well, this is where I am, and this
And
is
you
where
need
I'm
to just
staying.
accept it because this is me.
Okay, so
Right.
this is where I am, and you need to just accept
For
it.
sure.
I can be your best friend.
Yeah.
I can be whatever it is, but I'm not going to allow you in my life and make all this space for you and allow all this space for you in my life for you to just continuously hurt me.
Yeah.
Because at this point,
Yeah.
it's hurting me to be here with you.
Yeah.
Right.
And you shouldn't want that for me if you actually care about me, even if it's only in
Absolutely.
private.
Yeah.
If you
Exactly.
care, you shouldn't want that for me.
Absolutely.
I think I've had experiences where, because I'm not a hyper masculine guy, and because of that, the space around me isn't very hyper masculine. But I know that I have had a lot of male friends who have been plagued by hyper masculinity, and they come into my space for reprieve, and in that reprieve, they
Can you
find
break down the word reprieve for me?
like an oasis
Like a
of
relief.
relief from,
Okay, cool.
you know, and when they come, my experience has always been they find themselves in a kind of deep feeling for me,
Yeah, I've experienced
and not that they're gay or bi or like, but they don't know how to qualify what they feel.
Absolutely.
They don't know how to put words
They,
to what
and
it
so
is.
you know they'll want to cuddle or they'll
That may be food for thought for me. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and even like they look at me longingly, and they
but
don't
it's
know.
the intimacy that they're
longing for the
Not-
intimacy,
Yeah.
and I've become so open in myself that it invites people who are starving for intimacy.
And the opposite
Wow,
of masculinity,
I feel that.
femininity is nurturing.
It's nurturing.
So they come there to be nurtured because they're not nurturing
Nurturing
themselves.
themselves.
Masculinity is
It's
like
just-
this.
yeah.
Exactly.
It's
Absence
the
of
way
love.
it's the way we've built our society.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I love like my nephew. He's raised. It's funny because everybody's like, oh, he's gonna be gay because he has 5 aunties.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my nephew is so boyish, like backflips, busts his head open, getting stitches at 5, and wants to do it again. Like he's really masculine. But because he is raised with a lot of women, he picks me a flower every time he sees me.
I
Brings me
think
a flower,
that's
and he understands that it's
Yeah.
okay. And I'm just like, I feel like our men need to be raised more like that because when we get older, we hear all these women who are upset about the way the man is treating them or about
Right.
these things, but we think it's horrible for our son to have a doll,
Yeah.
or we think it's horrible for why not have, if you have a boy and a girl, how come they can't be in the house playing in the kitchen area together?
Yeah.
Then she can also go play G.I. Joe with
Exactly.
him. So he
It's
understands that it's
about
okay
balance.
for a man
Exactly.
to help with household chores. So it's
Right.
okay for a man to be inviting, to be loving. He doesn't have
Yeah.
to be, I'm beating on every damn
And that's the
thing.
thing. That's like when you were talking about like internal, like finding out who you are and internal soul searching and things like that. As a man, we're not taught to do those things. Like we are like, what you see is what you get. I like red meat. At least
I think
how
a lot
I was.
of people aren't taught to do
and
those
and I
things
right in
and for men,
general for sure.
hypermasculinity,
Unless
the
you're raised by all
pressures.
women.
And I was raised for a number of years a single mother and a sister, and I was privy to a lot of things that really opened my eyes and my world to, intimacy and connecting.
And what that truly means.
And
'cause intimacy
and
isn't-
connecting
Yeah.
with my fellow man.
For sure.
And I think, and I've had, for myself in my own personal journey with my sexuality, I've had to separate my sexual attraction from just my inviting
Just being intimate.
intimacy.
Which,
And
when you look good, it's a struggle. I deal with it every
because like
day.
in my boyfriend and I, like over the years, that's one of the things that we've had to decipher is, are you craving the intimacy that I have within me, or do you really want to be with me? Like,
Yeah.
is this?
Wow.
Do you
Like,
really
which
want to
one
be
is
with
he?
me, or are you just like,
Are you lonely?
are you lonely?
Yeah.
Are
Am I
you?
convenient for you or am I a chore?
I
Or
think
yeah,
I so needed to
exactly.
hear that.
And I think
I
that
needed
was
to hear that.
I think that's where when I think about my relationship, I'm always like, No, he's choosing me. I choose him, but he's choosing me. He's choosing me, and in him choosing me,
I chose.
I'm a gay man.
You got chose.
and in him choosing me, I began to understand how to love myself in new ways. And I think that, again, like I said earlier, that's when I knew. That's when I was like, oh, this
He's
is
your mirror.
This
He's
is
your mirror.
yeah. This is it. And
Making me all water eyed, teary-eyed and shit.
Y'all.
He's so gay and so cute.
Right? You guys, this episode, I know it's been a little different than the others, but I'm so glad that we got a chance to experience this together. And I just want to give everybody a chance to remind our viewers what their social media is so that you guys can all follow us along our journey. You're not alone in this journey. We're going through it too, as you see. We love you guys, and I'll give you a moment. Can you give them your Instagram so they can find you?
Y'all follow me at a.holistic.nurse on Instagram.
And thirdeye_birds. Thirdeye_birds too for the podcast.
Miko_rounds Instagram.
She's so lovely and cuddly. I'm Margot Graff. You can follow me at It's Margot Graff, MARGO, which is see is what you get, and Graff like graffiti, but without the TT. Baby.
And you can find me on all social media platforms at official Michael. That's official MYKELL.
And mine is Tiffany_Tony_TV. Feel free to give us a shout out. Slide in our DMs, respectfully, of course. Okay. We love you guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.